Kit the fox lived at one end of the forest with his mom, Ellie. Kit had a dad too, but did not come by very often. Dad was always busy working in the city at the circus, helping the magician to perform stage tricks. Kit missed his dad, of course, and wanted to grow up as soon as he could. He dreamed of visiting the big city and seeing one of the circus shows at least once. But he was too young for that. He wasn't even going to school yet. Instead, he helped Mommy Ellie around the house. Kit usually got up early in the morning, making his mommy sandwiches and putting them in the basket for her. And when she left the house, Kit took a broom and got to work. He cleaned and dusted every lost corner, from behind the oven to the highest shelves, doing it carefully in order not to break anything and upset his mom. When he was done, Kit got out the book and started looking at the pictures. He knew the letters, but he hadn't learned to combine them into words yet. In the evening, Mommy Ellie returned, and over dinner, she told her son about happenings in the forest. And as was their tradition, at the bedtime, Kit listened as Mommy Ellie told a story. But one day, after dinner, Kit asked his mom to take him with her to her work in the forest. Ellie thought for a minute and said yes. The next morning, Kit made extra sandwiches to put in the basket and looked in the mirror. His mommy locked the door, held Kit's paw in her own, and together they went on their way. First they passed by the bushes and young birch trees Kit saw every day from his window. Then started tall trees he hadn't seen before. These were old, winding oak trees. Kit had been in the forest a long time ago, but it was different now than how he remembered it. The old oaks looked incredibly beautiful, even magical to Kit, reminding him of something from a book. Kit listened to the rustling of the trees and held his mom's paw tight. The woodpecker tapped out its ribbon, cluck, cluck, cluck. On the trunk of a pine tree, yellow resin glistened in the sun, and in the grass, Kit spotted a snail, carefully poking its antennae out. "Careful, or else you'll squish them," warned Mommy Ellie as she held Kit back. Kit looked down and saw a thin black stream of ants. But what's this? Along the tall grass, gently swaying, there was a mushroom. An enormous, wide-sided mushroom wearing a bright brown top. Kit forgot how to speak for a moment, instead looking at his mom as if to ask for an answer. Mommy Ellie was surprised at first. Then she took a better look and started laughing. "That's a hedgehog, you see. He's found a mushroom and he's taken it home. On the dark ground after a nighttime rain, a hedgehog is almost impossible to make out." "Good morning, Ellie," called out a voice from somewhere up above. Mother and son raised their heads, catching sight of a furry squirrel, who gave a friendly wave to them and gracefully hopped from branch to branch, landing on the ground a moment later. Called out, "I see you have company today. Is your son really that big already?" The squirrel looked at Kit, who felt embarrassed. "What a big boy! He has quite a resemblance to his mother." Now Mommy Ellie was a little embarrassed too, and she answered, "It's been so long since I've seen your little girl. I'm sure she's grown too." And "Ellie, come on out!" The squirrel called loudly in the direction of a hollow in the tree trunk. Kit and Mommy Ellie turned their heads and saw Nellie, big-eyed and as skinny as can be. Having heard her mother's call, Nellie popped out from the hollow. "Calm down, Nellie. I'd like you to meet a fox here," the squirrel said to her daughter gently. "Don't hurry. Be careful." She saw Nellie preparing to jump down. While the adults talked, Kit took a good look at Nellie. He had seen squirrels before, but from afar they always looked like fur balls. But not Nellie. "So where is your fur coat?" He couldn't stop himself from asking. Nellie giggled. "Where's yours? You know that our fur becomes more majestic before the winter, when it gets cold, right? During the summer, fur just gets in the way." Kit looked at his own body and nodded in agreement. The adults said their goodbyes, and Nellie hopped up high behind her mom, disappearing into the tree hollow. Mommy Ellie and Kit continued on their way behind her. Soon, they arrived at a clearing in the forest. Kit's eyes went wild with excitement. There were so many animals here, large and small, in gray and white, and all sorts of colors. In the center of the clearing, on the crooked stump, sat the wizened owl. The others huddled around. They arrived at the wizened owl proclaimed grandly, "There must be order in the forest, as my grandmother said every day. And when my grandmother was young, there was indeed order in the forest." "And what happened later?" asked the gray rabbit as he scratched his outer ear with his hind paw. And when the wizened owl stopped talking and looked with displeasure to one side where she heard a voice, she kept quiet for a moment and thought for a moment before replying. "As my grandmother said, in those days nobody would ever dare to interrupt their elders. That's what." Anymore. Everyone fell quiet as Mommy Ellie loudly greeted them. "Hello!" She was speaking to everyone, but the wizened owl decided that it was for her alone, rewarding the newcomer with an officious bow. She then regarded the animals already there as if to hold up Ellie as an example. Those with proper manners greet their elders as Mommy, but nobody was looking at the wizened owl anymore, instead looking at the little kid, whom they had never seen before. "He's so cute, so red, and look at his tail and his nose." There was too many voices to identify them all. Kit felt shy and dug his nose into the side of his mom. He regretted asking his mom to take him into the forest. "Cute. And I bet he's a bright one too," added the wizened owl. The owl was a little hurt that she had been forgotten about. She collected herself for a moment and continued, "Isn't he getting old enough for school?" "Who's that?" Kit asked his mom in a whisper. "The principal of the forest school," Mommy Ellie answered back quietly. "You'll get to know her better next year." The wizened owl, in the meantime, had flown off her tree stump and landed almost right next to Kit. "What a good boy you are! And by your eyes you must be smart too," said the wizened owl as she looked over the boy. "Ellie, bring him to me in the fall. I'll teach him all the subjects myself." Mommy Ellie has once been the student of the wizened owl, and even now was still afraid of her former teacher. She wouldn't dare to say no, and quickly agreed. Didn't speak up. Kit was quite on the way back. He wasn't excited by the forest, and new noises and sounds were not so interesting. Mommy Ellie kept offering him something to eat, but Kit didn't feel like sandwiches. "Was it overwhelming?" Mommy Ellie asked. "Or maybe you didn't like your future teacher. She only looks strict and stern. In reality, she's actually kind and fair." Kit still didn't speak up. He just wanted to be home again, in his favorite chair, which he climbed up on all four paws to reach. Mommy Ellie was silent now too, not saying a word on the rest of the way home. When the evening came, as usual they drank strawberry tea and talked about this and that, anything except for their forest trip. Kit's life continued as before. When the summer was coming to an end, the great fox came from the city. He brought his son gifts and a large suitcase filled with books. I know you're getting ready for school, my boy, so here's everything you need. I invite you so much, Kit. Soon you'll have a whole new, different life. Kit took a close look at his dad and did not say a word. He did not expect anything good from this new life.